child. I'm tired, y'all. All right, it's the Shay Carter. Welcome back to Beautifully Imbalanced. Today we are going to talk about something that I believe a lot of us struggle with, and it is asking for help. So let's talk about a little bit. Let's get the other stuff out of the way first. Um, so let's talk about my sweater real quick. I love you first. This is my brand, Carter Love. You can find this sweater on my website, which will be here. Um, and next month, yes, in June, I will start doing challenges on my Patreon account. I can't wait for that. I'm working on the workbook right now. And so I'm excited about that. My Patreon will be here. And then I'll be doing webinars soon. I'm still trying to figure out how many webinars I want to do throughout the year. So that one is taking a while, but I already have some ideas, and it's tempting because I'm like, I have a podcast. I could just do them on there, but I want that interaction. I want the back and forth. So the webinars will be coming soon, but the challenges will be starting in June. You can go and check out my Patreon now. And then in June, it's gonna be on and popping. Also, I am available for chats in my Patreon, and then there's also my girl Char that you can connect with if you need any type of back and forth, someone just to listen to, someone to advise. She is the one to go to. And I think that's it, y'all. The subscriptions are going up. I'm getting a little bit more nervous before each podcast because now like the audience is growing. We're almost at 100 subscribers. So with that being said, make sure that you subscribe, like, and hit that little bell so you can be notified every time I post a new video. All right, let's get into it. So again, I got my messy notes. How can I read it? I can. Don't worry about it. So asking for help is a struggle sometimes because we have all these theories about asking for help, and maybe we've asked for help in the past and it backfired, or I know me personally, I would feel like because I would get as a child, there was like so many complaints like, I gotta do this for you, I gotta do this for you, I gotta do this for you. Well, honey, you created me, so yes, you have to do this for me. But then it moved into relationships, and y'all know I don't drive. So, if someone's driving me around and there's complaints about driving me around, or I don't want to drive you, blah, 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 like I began to feel like a burden. And so I'm just more like, I'll do it by myself. I'll struggle before I ask somebody, kind of thing, thinking that made me powerful, thinking that made me strong. But it was more so running from rejection and asking the wrong people for help. So let's dive into some of the things that I've learned since I've started asking for help. I think the biggest step I took in asking for help was therapy, but after that, it was still a struggle. Okay. Because I still had all those thoughts and theories, but I've come a long ways and I've learned some things. I read the book Nonverbal Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. Um, and his belief is that our needs are a precious gift. And sometimes when we ask for help, we present it as if, oh, I'm so sorry, I have to ask you. I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to make things harder for you. And um, we present it like we're lucky to have that person. But I feel like from what I've learned from his book, it's good for both parties. One, I trust you enough to ask you for help. Um, I trust you enough to ask for help. I trust you with my vulnerability. I'm trusting you to help me through a situation that I'm used to going through on my own. My goodness, something got in my eye. And so that's gonna bring you and whoever that person is closer in a deeper connection. Um, and so he says that we should express the need and be clear on what we want. So I have some examples for that. But we're going to come back to that after we dive into the other stuff. So you are not a burden. Let's just get that out of the way. You're not a burden. Your need is a precious gift. Um, Sometimes we're afraid that, because it does happen. Sometimes people be like, well, I did this for you and I did this for you. And sometimes that happens. And so we're afraid that, because we be like, ain't nobody about to tell me they did such and such for me. I can do it by myself. And I'm telling you, I've been there. But the thing is, sometimes we take on those other people's feelings and we make ourselves feel like crap. But their feelings, that is none of your business. And I was watching this video and it was like spot on, because the girl was saying that she used to struggle with asking for help. And she goes, you know what? If someone throws it back in your face, that says more about them than about you. And that clicked so deeply for me, because I used to have that fear. And I just kind of, now I brushed it off with that, how their feelings are none of my business. But she took it that step further. It says more about who they are as a person and how they operate. If they're going to help you, and it's supposed to be out of the kindness of their heart, and then they're going to go back and say, list off what they did for you, it really does paint them in a bad light. I feel like, sorry, my foot hurt, and I've been having this paranoia about snakes lately because I seen one on a walk. And so let me put my feet up. Don't judge me. I had a bad dream about it afterwards too. So, no. But anyways, so for me that clicked. So I'm hoping that clicks for someone, because like I said before, I was like, if someone was to do that later on, you know, it's none of my business. But I love how she said that. It really does say, because before you would take that on, right? I don't want someone to say that they have this power over me, that they did this for me, they did this for me, you know what I mean? And that makes you feel small. But it doesn't say anything about you. You trusted them with this information. You asked them for help and you leaned on them in a time of need, and then they threw it back in your face. So that's not on you, honey. So the other thing is, rejection is not personal. So I did write out I wrote out an example based off the way Marshall Rosenberg says to ask for help, right? So you state the need, you express the need and how you're feeling, right? So I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm having car troubles and I need to get some groceries. Will you give me a ride to the store? Clear, right? I'm clear on what I want. I'm telling you how I feel, telling you what's going on. I'm expressing myself. But I'm not saying sorry. I'm so sorry to bother you. I need this, is like, you know what I mean? I'm not doing all that. I'm just being clear about how I'm feeling and what I need from you, right? And then if someone was to say, I can't do it right now, it's not personal. They're not like, girl, you know what I mean? It's not personal. It's maybe they had something else to do. Maybe they have to go get their own groceries and there's no room for your groceries if they getting groceries. Or like, you never know a person's situation. And I think that sometimes we take rejection on and we apply it to ourselves. And it's not personal. I don't really know how else to word it. I had to learn this early on too, because I was always afraid of rejection. Sometimes I wouldn't bring up certain conversations because I was afraid of what the outcome would be. But you never know what the outcome's going to be, and you never know really why a person says no unless they tell you. um and there could, even if they do tell you, there could be layers of other stuff. Maybe they had a long day and they had a lot of stuff that they had to do. Maybe it's time for them to just chill at home and they have to put their needs first, because that's boundaries, right? They have to show themselves to love them first. So just keep that in mind. Also, the other thing is, we have this mindset that asking for help is a weakness. um that's the other, it's a lot of it is like us feeling small when it comes to asking for help. And I can understand it. we live in a society that's heavy on independence. Um, and so I can understand it. And I know me personally, I've been the same way. I'm an independent queen. I've been doing this. I've been on my own since this. You know, I remember being that way. And I'm not gonna say that I know how to ask for, like, I ask for help all the time. I don't. I've learned all of this stuff and I apply it, but sometimes it takes me a while for me to be like, oh, I actually do need help right now because I'm used to doing it on my own. Sometimes I don't realize that I need the help until I'm like so stressed out that it's like, girl, just ask somebody for help and get on. um so that's another important thing to do. That's one of the things that I'm working on, is recognizing when to ask for help. um but for me, that's something I'm still learning, but I have learned how to ask for help. Now it's just about recognizing when I need to ask for help, when to stand strong and do it yourself, and when to ask for help. And that is going to come from searching yourself, and from who you're around, who's in your community, you know. And that's the other thing. That was the next thing. Ask the right person, and you know who's the right person. We all know who the right person is. Sometimes we ignore those signs, but we know who the right person is because we think about it too. Like when we're ready to vent, we want to, sometimes we vent to people who we know are going to take our side, instead of venting to the person who's going to guide us in a different direction. You know what I mean? So if you think about it in that way, you know who to ask for help. But depending upon what you're asking, you can look at lifestyle or how you feel in your body when you normally open up to this person, and that will let you know if you feel safe trusting them with your vulnerability. Because asking for help is vulnerable. Um, usually you're feeling something that's not on the happy side. Usually you're feeling overwhelmed or frustrated or angry or sad, and you have to be vulnerable and you have to let someone in to how you're feeling, and ask for help. So you want to ask someone that you trust with your vulnerability, someone that you can come to with that. So someone who's not going to be running their mouth or anything like that. And I know sometimes you're like, it's just something simple like asking for a ride, but yet it's still, it may affect the way you feel about. Oh, I didn't know my camera was right there. Sorry, it'll move. I think I usually have it flipped, my phone. Either way it goes. So if you are having trouble figuring out who to ask for help, really sit and connect with yourself, because I'm telling you, your body will tell you, I'm not feeling the way they moving. I don't want to ask them for help. But you gotta listen, because sometimes it's not. Okay, so I left off at sometimes our anxiety will speak to us, and we know it's our anxiety because we're used to it. So knowing the difference between your anxiety and what your gut feeling is telling you is very important. And like I said, anxiety is always like really stressed out about the future. Like, oh, what if I ask this person and this happens? And then, like, whereas your gut is going to be like, last time we talked about such and such, I didn't feel good in my body. I felt uncomfortable, or I felt they were resistant or whatever. And so you know who the right person is to ask. And sometimes we make the mistake and ask the wrong person, and that is okay. That's a learning lesson. Then now we know, I'm not going to ask that person next time. Um, so it's just important to document that stuff too in your mind, file it away, and figure out how you want to move forward, especially when it comes to asking for help. Because the thing is, a lot of times we don't ask for help because we've asked the wrong person in the past, or we are overthinking it. And sometimes that's what we do. We'll overthink before we ask, and then we have all these scenarios in our mind, and we end up answering the question for them. You know what I mean? We don't give them the opportunity to even help us. Um, and so I just realized that I'm not centered. Y'all, it's okay. I'm tired, okay? Next time I'll do better. But anyways, so just that's just something to think about. Listen to your body when you ask for help, and really document, in your mind, is this someone that I'm going to ask for help again in the future? Or, it's all a learning lesson. And sometimes it's hard because those lessons hurt more than we would like them to, but it's important to learn them, right? Because how can we keep growing? How can we know who to ask and who not to ask, and what to ask, what's okay to ask for help, and what's not. But like I said, remember that other people have their own boundaries and they have other things going on in their life. So rejection is not personal. Um, so the next thing I have is, don't wait to the last minute. Sometimes you have no choice. If you're asking for help and it's like, dang, this just happened and I gotta get to work and I don't have money for Uber, but I have this friend who lives around the corner, sometimes you can't help but to ask late. But if you know in advance and you want to ask for help, don't waste time, because sometimes they say no because you waited to the last minute. But if you had asked earlier, if you had been more asked in a timely manner, then they could have actually helped you, so sometimes it's us thing. um so it's important to remember that. The other thing that I found helps me is, there are people, because like I said, the asking for help, it makes you feel, well, for me, let me speak for me, it made me feel weak, it made me feel dependent, it made me feel like a burden. But I surround myself with people who know who I am. They know that if I could do it on my own, I would do it. They know if they needed help, I would do it. They know that I am independent, but of course, stuff happens. So sometimes I need help, just like sometimes they need help. We are all human, right? So I surround myself with people who know who I am, and they make it easier for me to ask for help because they are trustworthy, because I can trust them with my vulnerability. So it's important to surround yourself with people you can trust with your vulnerability, people who know who you are. So I'm going to go back over this um, example that I've created from what I've learned from Nonverbal Communication by Marshall Rosenberg, and then I'm going to close out. I had technical difficulties. I got to clear some more space on my phone. But I wanted to present the message because I know that I'm not the only one who struggled with asking for help. And there's just little tips and getting to know yourself and surrounding yourself with the right people that will make it easier for you to ask for help and make you more confident when it comes to asking for help. So remember that your needs are a precious gift. We all have needs. We're all humans. At some point, we're all going to need, someone's going to need somebody. It's just the way life works. Um, so express the need and be clear on what you want. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm having car trouble and I need to get some groceries. Will you give me a ride to the store? That's just a simple example that you can apply to your own life. Let's see if I can make a more like emotions one, right? Um, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I've been at home with the kids all day. Will you hang out with me by the water? Let's go to the marina. Um, I just want some company, you know. You're stating how you're feeling, you're stating what you need. I need some adult company. I need to talk to an adult. I've been at home with the kids all day. That's what I need. I need the social connection. Now, they may say no because maybe they was at a meeting all day with adults. They want to be by themselves. You know what I mean? It's not personal. They just may not want to hang out. They don't want to be bothered. Their social, what do they call it? Their social hours is over. It's done. They ready to be at home. Me time. So it's just like I said, it's important to remember rejection is not personal. And your needs are a gift. Um, so sometimes that's the other thing that he mentions in the book. I really wish I could find his exact quotes, but I was doing an audiobook, so I can't. I just had to go back over my notes to find the two quotes that I did give you guys. But he mentions that, like, we think of needs as such a bad thing, but they're not. We need water, we need food, we need air, and that's not bad. Like, you know what I mean? We think of it like such a weight, and it's not. And so I love that he says that our needs are a precious gift. Um, so I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. His book, I will put the link in the description. I read it, like I said, Audible is my best friend. Um, so I read it on Audible. It was very helpful for me in many ways. It definitely shined a new light on how I ask for help. Because I did used to be like, I'm sorry to bother you. Like, it was such a bother for me to ask you for whatever I'm asking you for. You know what I mean? And I did used to take it on personally. Um, if if there was a no, well, dang, maybe we ain't as close as I thought we was. And it's like, no, girl, she got her own life too. Damn. Um, so hopefully this was helpful to someone. I know that these things have helped me. And just remember that you are worthy always. You are worthy of your needs and of help and of care and comfort and love, and just keep going. Keep loving on yourself. Keep learning about yourself. Keep spending time with yourself so you can get to know you at your core. And I will see you on the next episode.